Hey everyone, I'm back. All right, now let's get into the NBA. But before I do that, let's get into something else with NBA. I obviously the playoffs are about to start soon, and yeah, there is not 100% definitive of all the teams in the West. There is, but it's different with regards to the seeding. But in the East, it's a little different. Still close, too close to call yet. So, but just in case, if the Heat don't make it, I think that uh Dwyane Wade, he's retiring. I think that's great. I'm not a Miami Heat fan, but I've seen that team, know the success they had, especially with LeBron James and what Dwayne Wade did with Shaquille O'Neal and the things that he always done with the Heat and the way he's done things the right way. The pay cuts that guy took to be a part of that big three with LeBron James, bringing him and Chris Bosh in as well, and doing all the things he did for Miami, and being the high draft pick and the success he had, and he's probably the third best shooting guard, and the other two people above him are people that just above him. Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant are probably just slightly better than Dwayne Wade. Michael Jordan probably a little more than slightly better than Dwayne Wade. Kobe Bryant and him are a little different, but he's probably number three shooting guard behind those two ever in the NBA. And from what I follow sports all around and just things like that. I just think it's really interesting that Dwayne Wade is going to retire, and that everything that's happening, all the success he's had, it's well deserved. The things he's done, I think, are great to see, and I do think that if he doesn't make the playoffs, which would be a shame, because I do think he deserves one last chance in the playoffs. But if he doesn't, obviously things happen. But he had one heck of a career in the NBA, and he's won championships. He's, I'm sure, formed bonds and things like that. But as a fan of the NBA, and I've seen the Heat, he's a really, really great player, and it's great to see he's going to retire of his own volition, and he gets to go out how he wants. So that's cool. Now let's get into some more NBA stuff. Like I was talking about, the playoffs are almost here, guys. It's almost here. NBA playoffs are here pretty soon. So it's interesting because even though it's two different things that are going on in the NBA right now, either it's the West where all eight teams are already decided, but it has not been decided yet because it's too close to call with how many games are left and each team playing everyone else pretty much, of how seeding's gonna go. Other than Golden State Warriors, who is indeed the number one, team in that playoffs for the West. Everyone else is like sort of subject to change in these next couple of days and things like that. So I just wanted to kind of cover that and see, what I think about it and how this might go, because you never really know. But it's going to be interesting. Really is going to be very interesting to see how that goes. Like I said, that Golden State Warriors. Then you have, here are the other teams that are going to be competing here, and it's going to be interesting. The Western Conference, obviously, you have Golden State. Then you have the Denver Nuggets, Houston Rockets, Portland Trailblazers, the Utah Jazz, the Oklahoma City Thunder, San Antonio Spurs, and the Los Angeles Clippers. That's right, the Los Angeles Clippers, not the Lakers. The Lakers are out, obviously. So, yes, there's subject to change, but how is this going to go? How can it happen? I will think probably the first three, well, really, I should say the first two because Golden State is already locked in. But I think Denver's going to probably stay number two. I think the Houston Rockets could, definitely could. I would say this: Denver Nuggets have a good chance of being number two, but if they do, I don't think they'll fall down any later than probably number three. Houston Rockets, the same thing, the opposite way. They could either go up or maybe they might go down. Portland Trailblazers, I think, will probably stay at four. I don't see them moving up any higher than that. They could go lower, but I doubt that. Now it gets a little more interesting with the numbers because San Antonio Spurs and the Clippers have the same, wins and losses, and Oklahoma City Thunder has one more win and one less loss. But you never know; things can change there, and that's going to be really interesting. Oklahoma City Thunder do have a chance to move up against the Utah Jazz. But I think San Antonio Spurs and the Clippers, that's going to be interesting how that goes. who's going to face who. And I do think these teams are really, I do think these teams really are going to compete because no one wants to face the Warriors because that, I wouldn't say it's a death sentence, but I mean, come on. Unless I would give the San Antonio Spurs a chance, and that's an outside chance, just because Pop knows what he's doing. Pop is a veteran. The players they have on that team are pretty good. You have Pau Gasol, who's won championships with the Lakers. You have LaMarcus Aldridge, who knows what he's doing. You have other players who've been around there, know the success, know what it's got to take. But to beat the Warriors, you would have to be on your A game 24/7 with that team. And that's just going to be hard to do. I think that's probably what it's going to be competitive there. Teams really don't want to face the Golden State Warriors, and I understand why, but that's going to be interesting. I think, like I said, San Antonio would be an interesting matchup against the Spurs. I Another one could be is also the Clippers because the Clippers have really defied the odds. No one really thought the Clippers were going to make it to the playoffs, so that in itself is pretty impressive. Now let's see if they could move past that and not face the Golden State Warriors, or if they do face the Golden State Warriors, can they beat them? Probably not. I would say more than probably not. 99%, 95%, they probably won't beat the Warriors. But you never know. Things can happen. But yeah, that's going on in the West. Now with the East. The East is a little different with regards to, how's it exactly going to go because it's not 100% locked down. Yeah, you have Milwaukee Bucks. That won't change. Toronto Raptors are next. Then Philadelphia 76ers, Boston Celtics, Indiana Pacers, Brooklyn Nets. That's really great to see for the Brooklyn Nets. Orlando Magic, Detroit Pistons. And now this is where it gets interesting. You have 9, the Charlotte Hornets, 10, the Miami Heat. Before I get into that, I want to say this. Kudos to the Brooklyn Nets. That's amazing. Going from all the losses you've had to now, even when you lost, it didn't matter because your picks were going to the Boston Celtics, and they were reaping the rewards of your unfortunate losses. And now that I think this one is, I believe is theirs. It's the Nets pick. I believe it's the Nets pick. They actually retained it, so now they're not gonna finally reap the rewards of losing. They're gonna reap the rewards of winning. We'll see because you never know. But I really think that if they don't make a huge run where they make it to the second round or past that, I still think this is success because you could build upon this. The players you have there are pretty good, and I do think it's just gonna be even better. D'Angelo Russell's been really good there. That's been good to see. I think that, everyone talked about a little bit with all him being with the Lakers. The Lakers messed up. I don't think the Lakers messed up. I think that was the right move to do because both sides really wouldn't have gotten a fair shake there because everyone would have still been kind of concerned with what he did. And, will he be an issue in the room? And then will management worry about, him being an issue? So I think it was just better off both sides just cutting it clean and moving on. And now you can see who he is. And I think this is what the Lakers wanted him to be. But I just think he just was not a no-go there. I just think that's how it worked out. But for the Brooklyn Nets, they finally get the better end of this because there was a time where the Nets could have gotten the point guard Damian Lillard who's with the Portland Trailblazers. They could have had him with the Nets, and that didn't work out because they did a trade. So they finally probably getting the opposite of it, where they're finally getting a good player out of it. So, but kudos to the Brooklyn Nets. That's great to see. They have a good head coach. The GM knows what he's doing, and I think that's really good. I think that's good for them. But now getting to the bottom, what's going to happen with the 8th and possibly even the Orlando Magic, what's going to happen with them, it's going to be interesting because Charlotte's right on the heels, and I'm sure Charlotte is an interesting case because they made the playoffs, but they're not really any. They're like the team that always makes the playoffs but never really does anything. Michael Jordan owns that team, and I'm sure he would love to have more success than just being in the playoffs. I'm sure he wants to get past higher rounds, more seeding, things like that. I think that's interesting. Detroit Pistons, what are they gonna do? They're in the 8th spot. What's gonna happen with that? That's interesting. I would think they would make it. I mean, you do have some really good guys there, and if they could just channel that and make it, I think that would be interesting because then you have someone who's been in the playoffs a lot with Blake Griffin, someone who knows what he's doing. You have other guys there who are probably haven't been there that much, but have been there or wish they're going to be there. So that's interesting. And then the Miami Heat, like I was saying earlier, I would love to see the Miami Heat because it would be great for Dwyane Wade to get one more shot in the playoffs, especially now LeBron James not there. Who knows? They could be a little bit better. Yeah, they're probably going to have to face a team like the Sixers or something like that. Or if they really are eighth, then they're going to have to face Milwaukee Bucks, and that's an issue because they'll probably lose. But you don't know for sure, and that's just really one of the interesting things with the NBA, how this is going to go off. Yeah, when I say you don't know, yes, everyone thinks it's going to be Golden State and probably either, something like the Celtics, the Sixers, or the Milwaukee Bucks, those kind of things. But making it to playoffs, you don't know. You don't know what teams are going to make it every year. You obviously know ones that are going to probably make it to the NBA Finals, but this year is very different. LeBron James is gone. He's not in this. How is that going to affect viewership? How is it going to affect, teams? Because teams are thinking, oh, we don't have to play LeBron, so we just have to worry about the Warriors at the very end, or vice versa. So that's interesting. And speaking about LeBron's team, LeBron now. Let's speak about his team, the Lakers. It's interesting over there. What's happening with the Lakers? Looks like probably, most likely, Luke Walton won't be there anymore. I think if that does happen, that would be a shame because Luke Walton knew what he was doing enough with that team. I think he was progressing slowly, but things were getting better. He was the head coach, even though it was temporarily, for the Warriors. And yes, they had a loaded team, and all those wins could happen with any coach, most likely. Not necessarily, but it could happen. But I just think Luke Walton, someone who aspires to be a good head coach, has learned a lot from a former Los Angeles Lakers head coach in Phil Jackson. Say what you want about Phil Jackson, the GM, that was atrocious, but the head coach Phil Jackson knows what he's doing. The amount of championships he's won, the stars that he's managed. You don't think Luke Walton has some idea what's going on with that? Yeah, he may never be Phil Jackson, but not many people are anyway. But I think he could have been a pretty good head coach if he's not here. I think it's a shame because he was with the Los Angeles Lakers team as a player, won championships with them, and I just think it's something very, very unfortunate if that doesn't go his way. And also, what's going to happen? There's talks of they haven't talked. Walton hasn't talked with Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson hasn't talked with Walton. I just think it's kind of a shame. And then, of course, there's stuff talking about how Magic Johnson's in the position that he's in, but he's not there. He's, kind of there, but not always there. I hope that's not the case because I understand Magic Johnson, the player, is phenomenal. Magic Johnson, the head coach, wasn't that great. Magic Johnson, the GM, wasn't that great. Now he's, above that kind of management, and it's a little scary, I'm sure, for Laker fans, and to see what happens because I'm sure Magic Johnson wants this to work. You kidding me? To bring the Lakers back from, the despair to now to being great again and being back on top would be awesome. But not everyone has that in them, and not everyone is capable of that. Some or they are, and it just takes time. So we have to see. But that's pretty much that with the NBA, and how it's gonna have the playoffs gonna be always very, very interesting. All right, when I come back, I will be talking about the XFL and some of the rules that they are bringing up next season, and how that's actually going to be pretty interesting. So I'll be back.